Alright, ready? Welcome back to WGAB, the GabCast, a Gabber newspaper production. I'm Cameron Healy, the assistant editor, and I'm with...
I'm Patrick Heinzen. I'm the news and politics reporter of the Gabber newspaper.
And today we're going to talk about beach renourishment, sea turtles, and what happens when they're hatching during a storm, right? And then we're going to have everybody's favorite segment, Cathy with a cop. And then we're going to have a little conversation about what Florida books should you be reading while in a storm or on a rainy day with Cathy, of course. So let's get into storm coverage, sea turtles, beach renourishment. There's a lot going on there. What do we know so far, Pat?
Well, as most likely everybody watching this knows, we just got through Tropical Storm Debbie, which was a lot for everybody here. Neither of us live in Gulfport, but we were here Monday morning, and it was a lot to deal with. And throughout the whole day, we were just working overtime pretty much. Everything was storm focused. And as we know, there was a lot of damages that happened to city property, resident property, and just people's lives in general. And one of the biggest things that you can still see today is if you head down to the beach, there were almost 20 boats that washed up, came on shore during the storm. Some of them were anchored in the bay, some of them were in the mooring field, different things. But that was one of the biggest things that really people took a look at and said, how did this happen? So a reader actually sent us a question this week asking us about how did this happen? What can the city do to do better for people who live on these boats and who use these boats for recreation and that kind of stuff? So I spoke with Dennis Frayne down at the marina, and we kind of he gave me he said the biggest thing is to be prepared. We knew the storm was coming, and I know that there's a lot of discussion about supporting boaters, and I think that obviously that's people's homes. You know, people are living on those boats. But in the same sense where a lot of people evacuate their homes, there's a certain level of this, kind of the first thing the city says is be prepared. If you live on a boat, figure out the best way to anchor it or pull it out of the water or something like that, because the marina has slots. You have to pay. You can't just dock for free during a storm, but you have to pay a fee, and there's wet slips, the mooring field has availability and things like that where they don't have enough for everybody, but with the storm being on the radar, it's one of those things where if you have the ability, obviously, you can make a reservation earlier to put your boat down or pull your boat out of the water if you have the ability. And those kind of things can be really, really helpful to mitigate these damages, because most of the boats in the marina were okay.
Yeah.
And with the mooring field, the mooring balls weren't the things that broke. It was the lines that were tied to the mooring ball.
Oh, okay.
So it's another one of the things where it's should the city be helping people tie their boats or providing materials to tie their boats down, because there's a lot of difference between a thin line, a metal chain, or like, let's say, I know that people have tied their boats with old fire hoses.
Oh, yeah,
and those kinds of things. Like the strength level of those is what will determine whether the boat's okay. And even though it was just a tropical storm, it wasn't a Category 1 hurricane when it hit us. We saw what happened.
It still is like destructive.
And along with that, there are people who anchor their boat out in the bay. And Dennis talked to me about how that's just not a great idea. The bay is not a good place to anchor. The winds really come through there hard, and it whips the sea up a lot, and the ground is very mushy. The anchors don't hold well. And you're a lot better in a harbor, whether it be the marina. He talked about Town Shores. He talked about Clam Bayou. The mangrove area over there is very protected, and boats that are there, anchored there, are safer. So obviously there's a lot of discourse between kind of how the city can support and how they didn't support or things like that, and how the responsibility is on the sailors or whatever. But in general, there are things that can be done to kind of mitigate what we saw in this last storm. And I think that comes from being prepared, but also the city helping people prepare. So if you have a boat, or if you're anticipating having a boat or preparing for storms in the future, just make sure that you use the resources that are given, and if you feel that you need more, advocate for more, because the city does want to help, and there's a lot of considerations that come along with that, but there's a lot going on. But along with boats, right now is sea turtle season.
Yeah, they're all hatching.
They're all hatching. Sea turtle nests are, they were placed earlier in the spring, and now they're starting to hatch. And they like the beaches. Like, the nests are on our beaches, right near the water, and when these storms come in and just destroy the beach, that can be really, really harmful to sea turtles.
Yeah.
And
I can't imagine just being a little sea turtle trying to make its way into the ocean, and it's just like, whoop-pow, whoop-pow.
well, along with that, like the wind, so the waves, the eggs are able to take in water and release water and gas. They're permeable, so that there can be gas and water exchange between the egg and the air. And they can survive a short period, like a tide change. But if they're submerged by a storm surge for a long period of time, the hatchling effectively drowns. And I think it's a unique thing because it's a natural effect on a natural effect.
Yeah.
But when you think about it, hurricanes are only getting stronger because climate change is a thing. So I think the biggest thing that people need to know is, no matter what, although it's a big deal and that these hatchlings are suffering from intense storms, that is not something that you can really change. I mean, like, when you see eggs uncovered, don't go disturb them. It's nature's way.
Now we need to really reiterate that, unfortunately.
I just think it's tough because it's nature's way, but also it's like there's a balance between what we want to do and what we should do.
Yeah. Of course.
But I think that one of the things that is sort of helping with that is Paso Grill is currently undergoing a beach renourishment project.
Oh my God, yeah.
So, obviously, with storms just getting stronger, beaches are just going to keep getting destroyed.
Yeah. The eroding process is a lot quicker.
Yeah, it just keeps going. So, beach renourishment is effective to rebuild a beach short term.
Yeah, of course.
There's not a lot of evidence showing that it's effective for long term.
Yeah.
It kind of just puts more sand there to then be knocked away.
Yeah.
But it allows
for the beach to like last a little bit longer than it would have if they didn't put stuff there.
And I know that the beaches aren't like ours. But when it comes to St. Pete Beach, the beach is the most important thing that they have.
No, it actually is.
That's
like,
their
it has
all
to
up and
be.
down the beaches. The beach is the most important thing there. It's drives their tourism. It's
That's why
St. Pete Beach is called St.
there.
Pete Beach for a reason. It's and this is really helpful to people who want to use the beach.
Yeah.
Along with, if the beach is gone, then when the next storm comes, there's going to be no beach to protect.
Yeah, to protect everybody.
It's going to keep, as long as the beach keeps going away, the erosion is just going to keep happening further and further up.
Yeah.
So, if we have the beach, it's still a protection to the businesses that are on the beach and the houses that are on the beach.
Yeah. Like, I just went there today to, like, take pictures of the beach, and they have giant piles of sand. Like, I was like, I want to climb it, but I like shouldn't. But it's like there's so much sand that they're adding, and it's definitely been a process. But imagine if the sand wasn't there, then there's like apartments right there.
Mm-hmm.
There's small hotels, motels, and like restaurants that are just right there on Paso Grill, and it's only like a street in between the sand dune and the place. So it's like, and it floods every time too.
Mm-hmm.
So it would be 10 times worse, but it's at least, yes, a short term, temporary, it's like some solution, but it's like
there's a lot of criticism towards Beach Street because, like I said, it's short term, it's expensive, and it's only really doing one thing. It works for what it's trying to do, which is temporarily reinforce the beach. But when we're planning to have 5 major storms in the Gulf of Mexico this year, it's going to go away, and then it's going to come back, and it's going to go back away.
And it's like, it's truly expensive, and it's like we were going back to with the sea turtles and wildlife and just the environment in general. It's just going to like only help for a minute. Like
you
keep
can't
those
beat
places.
Nature.
No. Like our sand dunes, they're messed up. They need more attention and love, and we can't do much.
No matter how much we do, nature is going to do what it does.
Yeah.
So
first of all, just don't walk on the sand dunes.
Don't walk on the sand dunes.
That's actually crazy.
Let the sand dunes are there for a reason.
And
don't walk on the sand dunes.
Sea turtles alone. Leave their little eggs alone. Like and you see they're like squared off with like stakes and tape. Like don't go in there and
learn about how to anchor your boats more properly. And if you're from the city, help people learn how to anchor their boats more properly.
People need the education.
People need help, and they want help. And
we have a bunch of information on every single one of those topics on the Gabber.com. We do. We have a little bit more of an extensive research. We obviously don't have it right in front of us. But, there it is.
My notes say.
But look at the Gabber.com, and you can find mostly anything about beach renourishment updates.
Or Gulfport, because we're really good at this.
We love Gulfport. I love Gulfport. Gulfport's #1 fan.
And my favorite thing about Gulfport
is Cathy with the cop.
Coming up next on WGAB the GabCast.
All right, everyone. Hi. Welcome back to WGAB the GabCast. I am Cathy. You know who I am. This is a police officer.
My name is Mike.
His name is Mike, or as the kids call him, Sigsby. That's how you were introduced to me.
That is
Sigsby
correct.
will be there.
Right. But the kids call me Officer Mike.
The kids, meaning the little bitty kids.
The grade school kids.
Because you arrest babies, right?
No, I do not.
Okay. So what do you do?
I work at Gulfport Elementary.
Right. So we are, of course, kidding. People do not arrest children in Gulfport. That would be bad.
That would be bad.
That would be bad. But Officer Mike is the SRO, Student Resource Officer. Is that what that's called?
School
Resource Officer. Well, like I said, when I was a kid, we called him Officer Friendly to convince us that the police were not bad. You are the SRO for Gulfport Montessori Elementary.
Correct.
So how many kids are there?
About 400 now.
Okay. So tell them, how Gulfport came to have an officer on campus at elementary school.
Shortly after the incident in Miami, the governor passed a law basically that said all schools had to have some type of security. The SSOs were formed at that time. That's the school safety officers.
Okay.
Gulfport and I believe Tarpon. And I think at the time, and I'm not sure, but I think Pinellas Park decided that they were going to put police officers in the elementary schools rather than the safety officers.
What's the difference? Is a safety officer like a mall cop?
No, they go through the same training that the sheriff's office does and stuff. They most of them are retired from the military or retired police officers. That's like the next thing they go to when they get tired of it because they get the same school year as the kids, so they're on the 10-month schedule.
Okay.
So they get good days off. They don't have to work nights. They don't have to do anything. The biggest difference is that you've got a police officer in a school, a sworn police officer that can deal with not only the kids but the parents and anything that pops up law-wise. Whereas if the SSOs are at a school and something happens, they would have to send a deputy or whatever that jurisdiction is, would have to send an officer to the school to deal with that.
But you don't deal with discipline, you said, right?
No.
You don't, like, a kid is acting out, biting the teacher. You don't come, like,
No, I don't.
beat them up or anything.
No, I don't deal with discipline in the sense that school discipline. I will go to the classes and like ask a kid to leave with me, which I don't have any problems with. We've had enough.
Isn't that scary for a kid, though?
No,
I mean, you have your...
no, they all know me. I am definitely the friendliest person on campus. There is no doubt in my mind. And I do. I don't have any issues going up and saying, hey, so-and-so, just come with me so you don't get in trouble. Let's go down to the office and figure out what's going on. And Ms. Zeller, the principal, or Ms. Harris, the assistant principal, will talk to you when we get there. And they're like, okay. But I don't go into rooms and grab kids and carry them out or grab them by their arms and drag them out. That's not my place, and I wouldn't. If a kid refuses to leave, I call on the radio to the principal and I say, hey, somebody needs to come get this kid.
You do some other stuff too. So, spoiler alert, we talked about this before the podcast. It's called preparation. We talked about it, and so one of your are you laughing at my staff?
Yes, I am.
It's okay. They're adorable. I laugh at them all the time. Stop high-fiving each other. My staff loves to high-five.
Like this.
No, you don't do that. You don't just do it for getting up in the morning. You have to earn something.
You do that Wonder Twins thing.
They don't know what that is.
Oh, okay, never mind then.
Wonder Twin powers activate.
No.
Okay. No, it's fine. They'll look it up later. It'll be in the reel they do for TikTok or whatever. Anyway, some of the things you do in your job are not what people associate with an SRO. Like, so you talked about, well, you didn't talk about, I asked about tampons.
Oh, yes.
So, I don't know if anybody watching has been paying attention to the national news. There's been a whole hoop-de-doo. I think that's the technical term.
Yeah, I like that word.
I guess there's what Minnesota has a law now that has had a law that students can get free tampons at school.
Right.
And that's not in Gulfport news, because Gulfport Elementary has free pads and tampons for the kids.
Yes.
And that sounds weird because you think elementary school, but I mean, how old is a fifth grader?
We have fifth graders 12,
Yeah, that's
give or take. I mean, depending on when their birthday falls. So, yeah, we have several children that actually get there first, usually.
And they come to you.
Or the nurse, yes. We are the two go-tos.
But you're the secondary nurse, right?
Yes.
You're like the backup.
It seems that way.
And so the school keeps a supply for kids.
Correct.
So, I mean, this is not a big deal. This is not political. This is a hygiene issue.
Yeah, no, they'll actually, I mean, as we talked about earlier, are they really comfortable? Yeah, they have no problem walking into my office and saying, Officer Mike, I need clean underwear. And I ask them why, and they say I got my time of the month, and I'm like, all right.
Do they say time of the month?
No, they do not.
Okay.
And I say, go in the nurse's office, do what you need to do. I'll go get you some shorts and underwear from where we store those, and you know where the rest of the things are, and I'll bring you the shorts and underwear, and then you can go in the bathroom and change and get happy.
I'm going to go on a limb and say you're Generation X, right?
Yes.
Like 65
Yes.
to, yeah. So we were not raised to be comfortable talking about these things at all.
No.
So I appreciate you suffering through this with me.
You know, I've kind of gotten used to talking about a lot of things, and a lot of people will tell you I'll talk about anything, so.
Really?
My limits are weird. My boundaries are
I
strange.
don't want to push that.
No, let's not.
I mean, okay, only because you have a gun.
Yeah, that's the least of your worries.
Do you like? And overall, it sounds like you really like being the SRO. You wanted it.
Yeah,
They didn't make you do it.
No, it got posted by the Chief Vincent posted it like you would any other, like the Marine Patrol or community relations officer or detective or whatever you would post. And I'm not sure who all put in for it. I believe I was the only person that interviewed for it. But yeah, I really wanted to do it. It was something I hadn't done before, and I have always enjoyed being around kids. I don't have any of my own, but I have many
That
nieces
you know
and
of.
Well, no, I'm positive I do not have any of my own. I have plenty of nieces and nephews that like to come visit Florida, like to hang out. And when we originally from Indiana, my house was the house to go to and hang out and have fun.
You were the party uncle.
More like the let's do fun things but not get in trouble uncle.
The party uncle.
Sure, we'll go
That's
with
what that means. That's the party uncle.
All right, fine.
Your officer party.
I
This
like
is
it.
great.
No, that is not, but okay.
So we're joking a lot, but it's a very sobering reason that you're there.
Yeah, it is.
I mean,
It is
sad
truly
that we have to have you there.
It is. It's very sad that, and I don't want to say society today, but the way things have gone, that you have to put people in places where you never had to have them before because of decisions that other people make. And
Have there been any issues?
no,
I
you have the occasional kid that will say something, but that's
In
8-year-old that
grade
doesn't
school,
really
do they know what they're
understand. No,
saying?
and that's just it. That's you got an 8-year-old that's just mad at another 8-year-old because they took their lollipop, and
I mean, when I was
they
in school, we
spout
weren't
off
allowed
and-
to have lollipops,
yeah,
but
well,
whatever.
you're not even our school either, but it doesn't mean they're not in their backpack.
If that's the worst thing you find in a kid's backpack, can we all just chill for a little bit, though?
Yeah, and at my school, that is about the worst you find. Candy is the go-to, and Takis.
What?
Takis, some kind of hot chip. I don't know. They're horrible.
Oh, the
I tried to eat them.
Takis.
Yes.
Yeah.
They're horrible. I'm sorry if you like them.
You're going to get hate mail.
I know.
So last question, and then we'll let you get back to defending our city's children.
Nice.
What's the hardest part? The hard part is, I mean, you don't have the typical police officer
No.
riding around in the car worrying that you're going to get shot when you pull somebody over. You don't have to deal with the hatred from the adults. What's the hardest part?
Wow, that is a deep question. So I don't know what the hardest part is. I think probably the part that bothers you the most would be the kids that need more than you can give them. The ones that, I mean, my primary job, and we did talk a little bit before this, and I said I wouldn't say this word, but I will. I don't care. My primary job is technically keeping the kids, teachers, staff, and visitors to the school safe. That's the political answer of my primary job. My real primary job is teaching grade schoolers that not every cop in the world's an asshole.
That's fair.
And if they learn to trust somebody and they know that somebody's going to listen to them and going to get down on their level, that may help them later. And it's the same thing with, I mean, that's kind of Gulfport policing as a whole, as far as I'm concerned. We have a demographic here that's odd. I don't know if that's the correct word, but diverse. How about diverse?
Probably a different word than I would have used, but not necessarily a word.
I'm not saying odd bad. I'm just saying it's different than you would deal with in a small town in like another state.
Look, we're
or
a little
whatever.
touched in Gulfport.
Let's go with that. So a lot of times your job here, you may get sent to something, but a lot of times it's just somebody that wants you to listen to them. And the school's the same way. It really comes down to you have this 11-year-old that had a really bad night because this happened or that happened, and they just want to come in and tell you about it and get their day pointed in a direction. And it takes a while to build that trust with them, so they'll do that. And it really does start like this year. We have pre-K and kindergarten kids that have never been at the school before. So I spend most of my time when I'm out and about in those classrooms because I want those kids to get to know who I am and talk to me. And I sit on the floor and play Legos with them or play blocks. And they come up and they touch things on my belt that they shouldn't touch. And we explain to them why they can't touch that and why it's important not to do that.
You don't give pre-K kids your gun, do you?
No, they do not get anything.
Okay.
They
I feel like we need to make that clear.
No, they come up and like while I'm wearing my belt, they will like, what's this? And touch things.
Totally normal curiosity.
Yes. So I have put together a happy presentation that stars SpongeBob singing "You Can't Touch This" or "Can't Touch This," and pieces of my gun belt will flash on the screen, and SpongeBob is dancing around singing "Can't Touch This," and we kind of go through why and how it works, and not how the gun works, but why I have to have it and why things are the way they are.
That's really cool.
And the kids think it's great. It doesn't mean they still don't, hey, can I touch that? No.
I mean,
we had this conversation.
I feel like I need to be told that on a regular basis.
Yeah, so
it's fine.
Fair enough. But yeah, you spend a lot of time. I mean, I spend most of my time the first several weeks of school in pre-K and kindergarten, along with we have new teachers. Obviously, every year you get new teachers, and trying to explain to them why we do what we do and what the school's policies are. That takes time. But primarily, it's just building relationships with kids so they want to come see you. Or if they do something right that they're all excited about, they ask their teacher, hey, can I go have lunch here? Or can I do this?
That's really
or can I do
cool.
that? But yeah, primary job, school safety, school security.
Real primary
job. Explaining to kids that it's okay to have a bad day, but you really need to talk to somebody, and it's okay to trust somebody.
I mean, I think a lot of humans never learn that lesson.
That may be true.
So, thanks for being on the podcast.
You're welcome. Thank you.
I know it's been super fun when somebody who's never met me before gets to be a part of this experience.
Oh, I'm good.
So, yeah.
You'd be surprised.
I mean, you did walk in here saying you would strip down to a swimsuit if you had to, right?
Yes, I did. We did actually have that exact conversation.
You were on the swim team.
Yes.
You coached swimming.
Yes.
That's fine.
And I said,
it's
you know
very
what?
warm.
I'm pretty comfortable wearing about anything. So
Just for-
swimsuits, nothing.
Everybody understands we're in a very small office. It is very bright in here right now, and the air conditioning cannot keep up, and that is a polyester nightmare.
With a lovely vest underneath. It's like winter.
Yay. Go get an ice cream.
Thank you.
All right. We'll be right back after these messages. I think you wanted to talk to me?
Yes. Welcome back to WGAB, the GabCast. I'm Cameron, and I'm with always Cathy Salustri, except not always. She's not always in the office. But today she is, and Cathy's going to talk to us about books to read, Florida books specifically that we can read during a rainy day or storm season.
Yeah, look, I wrote that whole article about books, and I don't want people to think I'm hoping for a hurricane. But when there is a tropical storm coming, I have my little rituals. Like, you do the prep. You do all the bullshit prep you're supposed to do in case the storm doesn't, for the first time in 60 years, turn away from us and it hits us. We pull in the big furniture, do all that, make sure the cats don't go out. I go to Trader Joe's.
Okay.
I get all the stuff to make either chicken parm or cannellini bean parm, which is just like chicken parm but with beans, and it's delicious. And
Beans.
grab a bottle of wine, and I settle in with a stack of books. I put on my sweatpants, keep it nice and cold. We always turn the air down in case we lose power so it stays cooler.
Isn't that like a smarter thing to do, right? Yeah.
I mean, it's not great for the power bill, but I love it.
I would do it too.
And so I was going through my books. I'm like, and I was reading some books last month. I'm like, these are all perfect books. There's no storm. Like I did a whole article about books you should read when there's a storm coming to make you feel more Florida.
Which one is your favorite book that you've read out of the books that you suggested?
Out of the books that are in the article, so the article's in two parts. One are the books I've read, and one are the books that are in my to-be-read stack, because I have literal stacks of books waiting to be read. And my favorite one that I've read so far is definitely Lucy Burdett's Poisonous Palette, because it takes place in Key West. The main character lives on a houseboat. She rides a little scooter around. She finds dead bodies.
Oh my God, it's like you.
I don't have a scooter. And I don't live in Key West, and I don't live on a boat. And I've never found a dead body.
I was going to say that. Is that the missing piece? I feel like that would be you as a main character in a different universe, though. Like, that I feel like would be your random everyday life.
I don't know. I mean, I have been a lot of places outside in Florida, and I feel like if there are so many dead bodies that these mystery writers want you to believe are just, like, waiting for you, I should have found one by now.
Maybe.
Just saying.
Maybe. Who knows?
Anyway, the book was a lot of fun. It's the 14th in a series. Lucy Burdett.
14th?
She has 14 books with this food critic who works for a magazine called Key Zest magazine, which is an adorable name. And she's a food critic and apparently has an unlimited budget, which our food critic does not have. And she goes out and eats places and writes about them, and also happens to find dead bodies. I mean, it's like a thing in these mystery books with the amateur sleuths. You know, Murder, She Wrote was a very famous TV show. Angela Lansbury, you know her as Mrs. Potts, from Beauty and the Beast, which I realize now was also before you were born.
I have seen that, though. I forgot that's her name.
So Angela Lansbury was the crime writer, and she always would find dead bodies. And at some point, same thing with this series. I love it, but it's like, do the authorities ever wonder why this one woman keeps finding dead people? Like,
yeah, like maybe she should be a suspect.
Well, her husband's a cop. So
he just pushes her to the side and thinks she didn't do it.
He's
one of these books, she's gonna do it.
She's gonna be the one, right? That's how she ends the series. Haley Snow has actually killed everybody.
That would actually make so much more sense.
But no, he does a lot of "don't you dare investigate," and she's like, "Whatever," and she goes and investigates anyway. But they're well written. They're clever. I like that they have so much of the keys in them. And this one, she does find a dead body, but it's not the main dead body. She's
Oh,
investigating.
she found another dead body while finding it.
Well, she didn't find the dead body. Like, so she finds a dead body, but not the dead body.
Yeah, so there's 2 dead bodies.
One of them is not a body. We never see the body because it was a woman who disappeared decades before. And she ends up helping somebody out to find what happened to this woman. And it goes back and, kind of goes back and talks about what it was like in No Name Key, which is a key north of Key West.
Okay.
North and east of Key West. And she goes back in time and looks at that. It was just a lot of fun to read because it wasn't the typical formula for her. And I enjoyed it quite a bit. The one I'm most looking forward to reading is Swamp Queen, which is a gator book.
Oh my God.
It's a book about a gator hunter. It's a Tamara Lush book, and or Tara Lush. Sorry, her real name is Tamara Lush. Shh. Her pen name is Tara Lush, and it's a mystery about a woman who is a gator hunter, or a gator. Not a hunter necessarily.
Gator.
So, very excited about all the books. You can get the full list at thegabber.com. Go to the arts section. Everything that I'm supposed to be reading. I mean, I feel like I need to hang up my headphones right now, go home and read.
That's so true. I
gonna go do
think
that.
you should.
Okay, no
Read.
comments from the Peanut Gallery, Wonder Twin.
She just called you a peanut.
It's a peanut gallery. It's a thing. God, I'm so old.
Who's in the peanut gallery? Did you know that they killed off the peanut from that one peanut brand? And then he came back to life as a baby?
What the hell just happened here?
You have to look up the video of Mr. Peanut or whoever died off of a cliff because he drove his peanut truck off of the cliff, died. That's the commercial. Then he comes back as a baby peanut as rebranding.
Tune into the GabCast next week while Cameron will explain the Wendy's commercial.
See ya.
Seriously, y'all, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. We hope you learned something. We hope you laughed because God knows we did. We'll see you next time on WGAB, the
The GabCast.